Hey, pilgrims. Another fresh dose on the docket for y'all this week. Let's get right into it, Sam.
Yes, sir. First up, we have Franshares, hot off a $4.1 million seed round led by Chicago Ventures. The startup makes investing in franchises as easy as investing in stocks or mutual funds. Then you'll hear about Applied Carbon, a startup that turns agricultural crop residue into biochar to minimize agricultural carbon emissions, and their $21.5 million Series A led by TOVC.
Love some good biochar. And
Oh, yeah.
lastly, stick with us for a Pillfolio update on Oats Overnight, as the high-protein, spoon-free oatmeal company we covered back on episode 58 is back in the headlines once again, hot off their $35 million Series B led by Enlightened Hospitality Investments.
Franchise investing, carbon emissions, and oats, all part of a balanced dose for this week, prescribed by yours truly. Let's dive in.
Here we go.
You see here, kid? You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump.
This is Venture Pill, your weekly dose of startups and venture capital. We break down recent startups in the news and interview founders and investors to help you stay informed in the evolving world of venture.
All right, first company up on this week's dose, we have Franshares, which just announced a $4.1 million seed round led by Chicago Ventures. So the startup makes investing in franchises as easy as investing in stocks or mutual funds. The thesis here is that during recessions, businesses like restaurants, service companies, barbers, and salons, all these types of businesses tend to persist due to their essential natures. And a large portion of these businesses are, you guessed it, they're franchised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. A lot of recession-proof type of industries you name there. People are always going to need to eat. People are always going to need to get their hair cut. Let's jump into some stats here on franchises, which was very interesting to learn about. Franchises make about $788 billion in annual revenue in the United States, which represents 3% of the US GDP. Pretty remarkable. There are 775,000, almost 800,000 establishments across the United States, which have led to 8.2 million jobs, and this all spans across over 4,300 brands. So really interesting to realize how significant a part the franchises play in our overall economy.
Mm-hmm.
That said, investing in this asset class has been largely closed off to most of us, unless you want to actually purchase one yourself, which of course can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not to mention it requires an active role in the business as opposed to a more passive investment opportunity that most may be seeking, right? Unless you want to quit your day job and start actively managing a Chick-fil-A or something like that, you don't necessarily have the opportunity to benefit from the proceeds of the lucrative business.
Yeah, which Chick-fil-A could be a fun one if we were to stop and jump into franchise ownership.
Right.
I think I saw something that Chick-fil-A, like on a per store basis, makes some of the highest revenue among any franchise fast food chain, which is cool, despite being closed on Sundays too. Is there there? Cabo Bob's.
True.
What am I saying? Cabo Bob's. I wonder if we can invest in some Cabo Bob's. For those that don't know, a favorite of many in Austin, best burritos
Take my
in
money.
town. This has to be on the platform. I'm sold. But yeah, it's been a while since we talked about really a venture pill classic, fractional ownership, one of our favorite subsects of democratizing access. And that's exactly what Franshares does here. So they nearly have 50,000 investors on the platform today. So franchise operators can fund expansions through the Franshare network instead of other traditional methods of fundraising. So it's a bit of a two-sided equation here. Certainly some network effects involved, helping out the franchise owners as well as giving investors an opportunity to access this asset class. And with that, they would get access to franchise financials, executive backgrounds, litigation, and more. Plus, they're regulated fully by the FTC for protection. So it's a really good opportunity to learn about the businesses that you could be investing in on the platform and to have that protection. You would ultimately earn fractional ownership and the rights to excess profit distributions throughout the ownership period.
Yeah, this one's awesome. Like it lets folks like you and I get our hands on a solid alternative asset class, or relatively recession-proof asset class, much like high net worth individuals and famous athletes who have historically been invested in franchises like these for decades. And just another means of diversifying, which is ever important in building out your financial portfolio, right? We've covered art and wine and other fine spirits. And so to now throw franchises in the mix, I love it, and I love the callback to fractional ownership. It's been too long, partner.
We know that Alan, one of the top pilgrims out there, is going to be just
he's in
chomping at the bit.
Yeah, and me too. I mean, this one's awesome. And again, if we can invest in something like a Chick-fil-A or a Cabo Bob's, like, cool to say that you're a partial owner first and foremost, but also just again a way of diversifying and getting some fractional profit distributions. And so lastly, final note with Franshares is this funding will go towards continuing expansion of its investor base. And also they're working on a secondary marketplace that will be available by the end of the year. Pretty ambitious timeline there, but that sounds awesome. And we're going to have to check this one out. This is a really cool company.
Absolutely. Yeah. So been a while, like we said, since we covered fractional ownership. We'll have to get some Pillfolio updates. Haven't seen those other ones in the news, but as you know, we're keeping tabs, as we do.
You know we do, partner.
All right, partner. Second company up now, we got Applied Carbon, which just announced their $21.5 million Series A, led by TOVC. This round also included participation from Congruent Ventures, Microsoft Climate Innovation Fund, which we hadn't seen before, the U.S. Endowment for Forestry and Communities, many others, but those were just kind of some notable ones. And TOVC, it might be 2VC, I'm not sure, of particular note, is a VC fund dedicated to decarbonization and the grand goal of net zero carbon emissions by the year 2050. They believe that the companies innovating in this space and striving to achieve that goal will also be the most compelling investment opportunities. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and just making note that this was the company leading the round, and they have that sort of same mission that we'll get into here with Applied Carbon.
Yeah, no, definitely some interesting context to sprinkle in there, partner. So a little bit more on the actual company. Applied Carbon has developed an apparatus that takes agricultural crop residue and turns it into a little something called biochar, which is a product that increases soil health and reduces the need for harmful fertilizers, also preventing carbon from being released into the atmosphere. And so then the biochar is then immediately deposited into the soil as the tractor goes through the field. And we'll talk a little bit more about how specifically the product works, but it's basically an instant application of this biochar into the fields as you're plowing them with the tractor.
Yep, as you know, 6 a.m. in a flatbed Ford. Rode a tractor before he was walking, you know. But jokes aside, this is really cool technology. Studies show that this process has the potential to remove gigatons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere each year. And the problem is, up to this point, that there really hasn't been a commercially scalable, low-cost solution to do this until Applied Carbon.
Right, exactly. Highlights the opportunity that Applied Carbon is diving into here head first. And so, as promised, a little bit more on the actual tech. Basically, the apparatus is encapsulated in a trailer that is towed behind the tractor. And as the tractor aggregates crop residue, that crop residue is processed via high temperature pyrolysis, quenched with water, and supplemented with nutrients. And this process addresses the cost concerns with bulk material transport needs of other solutions out there which create biochar.
Yeah, and so a little more on biochar's benefits. Research shows it is one of the most permanent carbon removal methods. Not to mention 90% of carbon removal sold to commercial buyers last year came from biochar as well.
Yeah, it's the great biochar rush of the 2020s.
Yeah.
And really, since the dawn of human civilization, approximately a third of excess CO2 in the atmosphere has come from human agriculture. And so along comes Applied Carbon to put that carbon right back where it belongs, in the dirt, baby.
Yeah. You can buy dirt. No, this is awesome. Again, one of those companies that's developed a technology beyond our true understanding. I love, trust me, we love high temperature pyrolysis. Don't get us wrong.
More than
But
the average.
yeah, but this is just a crazy application of technology in an industry, like we said, that has really horribly affected the atmosphere on the earth for hundreds, if not thousands of years, ramping up, especially over the last couple of 100 years. And there are a lot of companies out there looking to reduce carbon emissions, but I think this is up there with the ones that we've seen in terms of the solution that they're providing, and how that couples also with the economic opportunity of expanding this across a massive industry, apparently with little to no competition that can provide this sort of same solution that is on the go and addresses those challenges we talked about. So with this funding, they're going to deploy a fleet of these machines across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and I'm sure they'll grow from there. But starting in the heartland.
The heartland, baby. I love it. This is the type of startup that brings out the country loving guys out of both of us. But yeah, no, and I think you summed it up really well there, addressing a very pertinent problem with the smart, simple solution.
Yeah, simple, not easy, though. One got to give the team credit.
Of course,
that's an amazing machine they've developed. We'll see how it is able to scale, though. I think that's the main question, and if they can do that, they're going to have a lot of success.
Mm-hmm. All right, and to wrap up this week's dose, we have actually a Pillfolio update, as Oats Overnight, which we first covered on episode 58, recently raised a $35 million Series B led by Enlightened Hospitality Investments, with participation from Sonoma Brands Capital, Impatient Ventures, and several other investors. Jumping right in here, this is hopefully a refresher for all the loyal pilgrims that remember episode 58 like it was yesterday. I know you I do. Oats Overnight was founded in 2016 by former professional poker player, interestingly enough, Brian Tate. And Oats Overnight specializes in high-protein, spoon-free oatmeal. So the company offers a convenient, high-protein oatmeal solution that requires minimal preparation, making it easy to eat on the go for all the busy professionals out there.
Yeah. So their oatmeal features certified gluten-free oats with superfood ingredients like maca root, raw cacao, and hemp. Options also include flavors made with whey protein, as well as dairy-free options like from pea or fava protein, which I know I love to hear, being dairy-free myself. And it's really a nutrition-dense, on-the-go solution here. Great macros.
Love the macros.
So breaking that down, it's 290 calories per serving. It's got 7 grams of fiber in there, but 20 grams of protein packed in there to this vegan solution. I know that that's a big desire of many people looking to get protein, but maybe not get it from meat. So something tasty, easy to take on the go, healthy, has some good minerals and vitamins in there, and contains no artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners. So that's about all you could ask for.
Yeah, a healthy, tasty solution, ideal protein to calorie ratio there. A lot to like about this one, definitely for all of our listeners out there still finishing up their summer bod. This is the type of solution you might be looking for. And so we mentioned how it's, easy on the go, convenient. So consumers prepare the meal by mixing 8 ounces of milk or a milk substitute with a pack of oats in their custom blender bottle, which comes with your first shipment. Then you shake the mixture and refrigerate it overnight. Fast forward, hopefully a good 8 hours of sleep. After another shake in the morning, the oats are ready to consume. And so one thing we need to highlight here, and we covered this in the past, but one of the key differentiators here for Oats Overnight is their unique approach. And it's really, they set themselves apart through their community-driven product development process. So the company shares new products with over 250,000 active subscribers, quite a lively community, before launching the flavors. And last time we covered this company, they had 100,000 active subscribers. So good to see that they've 2.5x'd their subscriber base.
Yeah, and in not that much time. And it's really this feedback loop that allows their R&D team to refine products based on customer input. Obviously, your customer knows best almost always. And so it's ensuring that only the best flavors reach retail shelves and online platforms. This has led to the development of over 50 flavors, which are available in major chains like Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, in addition to online.
And I think on top of refining the products, an awesome kind of feature of this approach is that it's really a strong community builder, right? I don't know many other snack or food options that allow users to like actively contribute and voice their feedback to then drive flavors. Like they see what they want to see in their Walmart or online or wherever it may be. I think it does a good job of keeping the community engaged and continuing to grow that subscriber base. And active subscribers are recurring revenue, which is what every startup or business at large wants.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, wanted to move forward here, talk a little bit about some recent expansion and future funding plans. So this recent round will support Oats Overnight's expansion into the retail sector and further development of its manufacturing and distribution capabilities. So on that note, the company has invested in 2 significant facilities. They have a 62,000 square foot plant in Westchester, Ohio, as well as an 86,000 square foot facility in Phoenix, Arizona, which just opened in June 2024, so about 2 months old. And these facilities enhance the company's ability to produce high quality products efficiently and iteratively. And thinking back to our last breakdown on Oats Overnight, I recall a point of emphasis from Brian Tate, the founder, was that they keep everything in-house. They're not outsourcing any part of the production process overseas to make it cheap or anything. Like these are good American oats made for good American people. And they take pride in keeping the production and the jobs in our country.
Yeah. So we were excited to see them in the news raising another round. Of course, it's a celebration of all the hard work that they've had, and just an indicator that there's a new opportunity for more growth, and we'll see how they do that. It also excites us more specifically because we're usually hungry. We love talking about the food companies. This makes us think about Magic Spoon, Emmy, Goodles. We'd be remiss to leave out Belgian Boys as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many cool companies iterating on our classic favorites, but making them healthy, bringing them into the new age, getting away from sort of the processed food revolution that we saw and many people got used to. It's been ingrained into our diet. We love these things, but they're not good for us. They're contributing to a lot of disease and obesity and health problems at large. So it's great to see companies sort of provide better options for us, whether it's oatmeal that's higher protein or ramen that is actually somewhat healthy. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's really food that tastes good and makes you feel good and still has that nostalgia factor. Like, Goodles was mac and cheese, which a lot of us remember from childhood, as well as the other, Magic Spoon for sure as well. So yeah, I love this trend. I think it's fueled by a general rise of consciousness amongst consumers in what they're actually eating, and just generally people wanting to take control of their health, which feels like every other episode you and I are talking about a different company trying to help people do exactly that.
Yeah. So always fun to highlight a Pillfolio update. It seems like we're having that also every other week. So just a sign of the strength of our portfolio for the LPs out there. But in reality, yeah, it's super cool to look back. It's also an excuse for us to look into our records and just see how we've progressed and how times have changed. But again, want to congratulate the team here at Oats Overnight and wish them good luck for another Pillfolio update, hopefully coming in a year or two,
or sooner.
No, or sooner. Hey, we won't be upset with that.
Yeah. Yeah. But well said, partner. And I think that's as good a point as any to put a pin in it for this week's dose. As always, want to thank our loyal listeners for sticking around till the end of the show. And we'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Yes, sir. See y'all next week.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another dose of startups and venture capital. And as always, we appreciate our pilgrims spreading the word about the show. Share with your friends and help someone else make the pilgrimage. See you next time.
She told me that she only bumps my music when she's lonely. Thinks makes my vibes a little low-key, okie dokie, that's alright, but wait, I don't know how to do